What happened at these meetings?
That's just it. I don't remember. Until recently, I never questioned it before. How messed up is that? I'd go, I'd sit down and leave. I'd meet with the other members for coffee afterward. What on earth did we talk about? We must have found something. But I do remember a man. Benjiro. He ran the meetings.
Benjiro?
Yeah, Japanese guy. I don't remember anything else about him.
So I've read on many message boards and discussions about Blackwell how the formula seems to be that they uncover some mastermind behind everything, they have to save a couple of ghosts, and then they confront the mastermind. And I was trying to play with that formula a bit here by introducing this Benjiro character. So the first time you played this, you probably think, well, I'm going to have to go take down Benjiro at some point, and then that doesn't happen, and something else happens, and Benjiro turns out to be completely harmless. So that's me playing with your expectations just a little bit. Maybe.
How many people went to these meetings?
There were 6 of us. You already know about Leah and George and myself. The others are dead.
Who were they?
Does it matter? They are dead. Their souls were taken.
Even still, tell me.
Jeffrey Dutta, Heather Goffstein, Peter Fielding.
So the man who ran the Grace Group meetings was named Benjiro?
Yeah, Japanese guy. I don't remember anything else about him.
Could you tell me about Jeffrey?
God, Jeffrey Dutta. Talk about transfiguration. When he walked into that Grace Group meeting, I thought he was in the wrong place. I mean, the guy was a Wall Street broker, for crying out loud. He could have bought the church and everything in it. But he later confessed that he tried to kill himself. Twice.
So what happened to him?
He became a professional dog walker. Can you believe it? He used to pocket millions a year, plus bonuses. Then he was picking up dog crap for $25 an hour and smiling about it. He was hit by a car crossing the street. A hit and run. I was at his bedside when he died. Madeline had been around for about a month at that point, so I saw his spirit rise from his body. I thought I was supposed to help him, but instead You know what happened next.
Could you tell me about Peter?
Peter Fielding, yes. I never had much contact with him. He died several months ago. I'm afraid it's too late for him.
You saw his soul being taken?
Well, no. He died before Madeline came into my life, so I can't say for sure. But he went to Grace Group meetings, and he's dead. What other conclusion can I reach?
Tell me about Heather Goffstein. You said she was a member of your group.
Yes, she was one of us. I asked George if he knew where she was. He told me she was dead. I'm afraid it's too late for her.
Is this like Peter? Did you actually see her soul being taken?
No, I didn't. Thank heaven I didn't. Seeing it happen once is more than I can take.
How exactly did Peter Fielding die?
Why? Are you going to try and find his spirit? There is no spirit. It's gone.
You said it yourself. You don't know for sure.
It was some kind of accident. I'm not sure of the details. I read about his death in the obituaries. Too late for his funeral, sadly, but I said a prayer for him.
Can you tell me again how Peter Fielding died?
I told you before, there's no point.
Just humor me.
It was some kind of accident. I'm not sure of the details. I read about his death in the obituaries. Too late for his funeral, sadly, but I said a prayer for him.
How did Heather Goffstein die?
I'm afraid I don't know. George was the one who kept in touch with her. He told me she died, but he didn't tell me how or when. I suppose it doesn't matter anymore.
All right, Michael. We're going to go.
Of course. Godspeed to the both of you. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul.
Ah, you have returned.
Hey, Maddie?
Yes, Malone. So this Benjiro fella, he ran the Grace Group?
My host has said as much to me, yes. Sadly, he does not remember much about him.
Did you know Jeffrey Dutta?
I'm afraid not.
Do you know anything about this Peter Fielding guy?
I have never met him. He passed away before I became bonded with my host.
Michael seems to think he's a lost cause.
He might be right, but he may not be. If his spirit still exists, you are the ones to find it.
Do you know anything about this Heather Goffstein lady?
I know of her, but I have never met her. She passed away before my host and I became bonded. I never encountered her spirit.
Michael seems to think she's a lost cause.
It is certainly possible, but I refuse to lose hope until I see the evidence.
Right. We're gonna take off, plan our next move.
Of course.
Madeline?
Yes, Blackwell.
Michael said that a man named Benjiro ran the Grace Group meetings.
My host has said as much to me, yes. Sadly, he does not remember much about him.
Could you tell me about Jeffrey?
I'm afraid not.
Do you know anything about Peter Fielding? He was in the Grace Group with Michael.
I have never met him. He passed away before I became bonded with my host.
Michael believes his soul was already taken.
He might be right, but he may not be. If his spirit still exists, you are the ones to find it.
Do you know anything about Heather Goffstein? She was in the Grace Group with Michael.
I know of her, but I have never met her. She passed away before my host and I became bonded. I never encountered her spirit.
Michael believes her soul was already taken.
It is certainly possible, but I refuse to lose hope until I see the evidence.
Well, I suppose we'll talk to you soon.
Of course.
Officer Palmer?
Yeah, what can I do for you?
Do you have a record of a Michael Cooper in your system? He's a priest.
Let's check. Sorry, whoever he is, there's no file on him.
I'm trying to find someone named Benjiro. He ran some kind of self-help circle called the Grace Group.
Let's see. No, nothing on file. Sorry.
Do you have a record of a Jeffrey Dutta? He was killed in a hit and run.
Let's see. Yep, hit and run, like you said. Technically, the case is open, but nobody has any hopes that it will be solved.
Can you tell me anything about the death of a Mr. Peter Fielding?
Okay, let's see. Yep, here he is. Peter Fielding, age 54, owned a fitness center in Murray Hill called Field's Gym. He fell off a ladder while fixing a light bulb in the locker room, hit his head on the bench, and bled to death. Nobody found him for several hours. An ambulance was called and pronounced him dead at the scene.
Nothing more than that?
That's pretty open and shut. Accidental death.
Do you have any record of a Heather Goffstein?
Let me check. Nope, nothing on Heather Goffstein. Sorry.
Well, I'd better go. Thanks for the help.
Sure.
Looks nice and warm in there. Of course, so would an ice factory right now. Looks nice and warm in there. It seems to open with a key card. It says members only.
It's a keycard reader. Looks like it unlocks the door. It needs a keycard. Sticking my hand in it won't do anything. Joey,
What is it?
I can't remember the last time I went to a gym.
Thinking of joining?
With all the walking I do every day, I don't think I need to. Michael gave us a few names. We probably should look into them.
After you, dear.
This Benjiro person. If he ran the Grace Group meetings, we have to find him.
One step at a time, sweetheart. We'll get to him. And when we do, give him a punch in the face for me.
Whoever Jeffrey Dutta was, it's probably too late to save him.
Can't worry about that now. Let's just put a stop to this before it happens to anybody else.
This Peter, a lead worth pursuing?
Let your feet do the walking, Red.
Whoever Heather was, Michael seems pretty sure that she was, well, taken, like Leah and George.
God, I hope not. I'm not sure how many more of these ripped-up spooks I can take.
Michael gave us a few names.
After you. In my day, gyms were for sweaty weightlifter guys. These days, it's all toothpicks. Some kind of modern lock gadget. It says members only. I got something to say.
What is it, Joey?
You want to get a few rounds in while we're here?
I'm not exactly dressed for the gym, Joey.
Excuses, excuses. The Deacon, Gavin, Charlie Meltzer, and now Benjiro. It always comes down to one guy, doesn't it? Let's find him so we can give him a piece of our mind. Jeffrey Dutta. That's 3 spooks destroyed that we know of anyway. We need to put a stop to this before it becomes 4. This Peter guy. I guess any lead is a good one. Dunno who this Heather lady is, but Michael's convinced she's a lost cause.
She could be, but he didn't actually see it happen. She might be all right.
You take note of those names Michael gave us?
They're in my phone, if that's what you mean.
Sure, that's what I meant. Looks like some kind of headshot photo. Probably someone famous who uses the gym. Let's see here. Tanya Corsi. Hey, wait a second. Is that... Yeah, that's the spook from George's roof. Her name is Tanya Corsi. She's the spook from George's roof. A calendar with a marker pen attached. It's a number on the calendar. I can't do anything with it. Looks like they just scribbled a month in up here. Beats getting a real calendar, I guess. It's a number on the... Just a marker. Probably used to change the date on this calendar. Looks like that picture frame fell off the wall. TV showing some energetic broad in yoga pants. Run, run, run like a hamster on a wheel. That looks like a torture device to me. She's sweating so much she didn't even notice. Probably nobody in there with my luck. Hey, anyone in here? Anyone? Please? Well, that was disappointing. the men's locker room. Glad I can't smell anymore. Nobody here.
Hey, does it look right? Seriously, does it look right?
Does what look right?
The light bulb. I could swear it was blinking.
It looks fine to me.
Huh. Gotta do everything myself around here.
It's empty. Looks to be in his 50s? It's hard to say. He's got the hair of an older man, but the body that most guys in their 20s would envy. He obviously worked out religiously, for all the good it did him. Just a forgotten towel. So, Peter. I gotta not do this like Lumberg. My immediate impulse is to go, so, Peter. Did you get the memo about the TPS reports? Ooh, yeah. Okay.
So originally my backstory plan for Peter was a lot different. Originally he was supposed to be a kind of very overweight accountant who was miserable in his job, and the Grace Group meetings inspired him to get into fitness, which led him to opening up his own gym. And you solve the Peter section by finding a picture of his old self, showing it to him, and he is confronted with his past and blah, blah, blah. It's very Blackwell, which is nice, but in practice, when I was trying to design puzzles and characters and locations, it just wasn't very fun. It was just very boring. It was a very boring story, and the gameplay involved was very boring, and the revelation was very boring. And so I was trying to find something better. And my saving grace came in the form of Nick Bryant, who was one of the writers for Cognition. We were chatting over Facebook, and he kind of came up with the idea of something to do with Peter's father. I don't remember what he said, but he mentioned something about Peter's father. And then that was just the kickstart my brain needed. I figured, okay, he's got a father, he's got a sibling. There's drama there. And that sort of helped me come up with the whole backstory for Peter. The only casualty, sadly, is the jogger in the gym. She was supposed to have a speaking role. She's Peter's girlfriend, and she was going to give you more information about him, but that role was given to Maggie instead. But I kept the jogger in there just to give the play some character.
Hey, friend, can we talk for a second?
Are you sure there's nothing wrong with that light?
I'm no expert, but it looks fine to me.
Well, what can I do for you?
Hey, is your name Peter Fielding by any chance?
That's me. Why?
No reason. You own this joint, right?
Yes, I do. My dad built it. You could say it's a family business. Been running it around 20 years. Seems like yesterday.
So what's the story with the lights?
I don't know. It's driving me crazy. There's something wrong with them. I can tell.
Well, like I said, they look totally fine to me.
I'll just have to keep checking.
Nice place you got here.
Thanks. You looking to join?
No, I really don't think exercise is gonna do me much good.
It's amazing how many people think that. You're young. Your metabolism is still going strong, but time catches up with you before you know it.
You're preaching to the choir, Peter, but I'm still not interested.
Well, we're here if you need us.
So, how are you feeling?
Fine. Why?
You don't feel strange at all?
What do you mean?
Well, just hypothetically speaking, you don't feel like you're gonna explode?
What, like indigestion?
Not quite.
I am on a strict diet of wheatgrass shakes and fiber. Indigestion is the last thing I have to worry about.
So, you run this place with your old man, huh?
Sort of. He built it when he left the army. I took over long ago.
So, you run this place...
Sort of.
Ever hear of the Grace Group? I understand you went to a few meetings.
You know about that?
Sure.
Wow. Well, yeah. I went to some meetings. It was all I needed.
Why's that?
Well, I wasn't the most focused of people back then. It's a long story, but in the end I went to work with my dad running this place. It's been my life ever since.
Hey, I think I met a friend of yours, Father Michael Cooper.
Michael? Now there's a name I haven't heard in a while. How is he?
He's seen better days.
I'm sorry to hear that. He'll pull through. He always has.
I hear Tanya Corsi went to this gym.
She's been coming here for years. That body you see on TV, I take full credit for that.
Well, we all gotta be proud of something. Do you know anything about Benjiro? Ran the Grace Group meetings.
Sure.
Well?
Funny. I can't think of anything to say exactly. It's been 20 years.
Sure, people forget things.
That's it exactly. I just didn't think it would happen to me so soon.
Did you know Jeffrey Dutta?
You know Jeff too.
Not really, I just heard of him.
Good guy. Took care of my neighbor's dog when she was on vacation.
So tell me about yourself, Peter.
I'm the guy who's gonna kick your butt into shape.
Ah, well, we'll see. Do you know Heather Goffstein?
You know Heather too. Who don't you know?
Well, I'm a people person.
Wow, Heather. Haven't heard that name in a long time.
Well, I'll see you around.
You got it. I'll be here. I just gotta see what's wrong with this damn light.
So I found Peter.
Peter? Peter Fielding?
Yeah, he's safe and sound. Spiritually speaking, anyway.
Huh. Michael was sure that Peter's ghost was taken.
Just between you and me, Michael doesn't look to be sure about very much.
So this is a victim of a bit of streamlining here. Originally, you got access to Peter and Heather's cases as soon as you met Michael. You met him and he told you about both of them and you were off to investigate both of them. And this proved to be very overwhelming to a lot of the players, a lot of the testers. They were just getting so much information at once and so many goals at once, and they were very unclear about what they were supposed to be doing. So I streamlined it a bit. I cut off Heather entirely. I enabled it so Michael was very unwilling to talk about either of them. That way he didn't send you to investigate both of them, but he gave you just enough information about Peter that you could look him up and find him, get a little bit of information, bring it back to Michael, and then the rest of it would open up. So it was streamlined a little bit more and enabled to parcel out the information a little bit better so it wasn't so overwhelming. Or at least I hope so. If you were overwhelmed, I'm sorry.
So, have you heard of this Tanya Corsi person?
Tanya Corsi? Was she in the gym?
No, it's the name of our roof spook. Is she famous or something?
You could say that. She has a TV show.
I think you mean she had a TV show. Let's get going.
At last, you've come back.
We found one of the Grace Group spooks, Peter Fielding.
I see. Is he still intact?
Yeah, he tried to get me to join a gym.
I thought as much.
You thought so? What do you mean?
You know as well as I do. A spirit cannot be moved from this world until it is spiritually ready. It would appear that is also the case here.
But what about George and Leah?
From my understanding, they were aware of their death when they were taken.
Yeah, they were.
Then there is your answer. They were spiritually ready to leave this world, and so were vulnerable. This Fielding, was it? He is a lucky soul indeed. Until he is made aware, he cannot be taken. Not by you, or by anyone else.
So wait, this is our fault?
Whatever do you mean?
Leah, George. Just by trying to save them, we destroyed them.
I suppose. Yes, it could be seen that way, but please do not blame yourself. How could you have known?
Ignorance doesn't change anything.
Listen to me. Whatever or whoever is taking these souls, they were marked long before they died. All we can do now is move forward and save who we can.
So what? We just leave the spook to rot?
Of course not. It has been known for some spirits to become aware on their own. The right face, the right moment, anything can trigger it. And if that happens to Fielding, no. Our duty is to save him, and save him we shall.
How? The usual rules have been chucked out the window. We make a move and he gets hammered, and we're not gonna let that happen, not again.
It is a dilemma for certain.
You've been around the block a few times, so to speak. Nothing like this has ever happened to you before?
The destruction of the very essence of life? No. Such a thing is difficult to contemplate, and to witness it, even more so.
We need to think about this, plan our next move.
Of course. In fact, I might have an idea along those lines. I must confer with my host. Please excuse me.
He's okay? Peter's really okay?
He is still deceased, but in all other respects, yes. He is as well as can be.
This changes everything. You have no idea. You two, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I never even considered that Peter's soul could be saved. And maybe Heather too. Yes, Heather. If she wasn't taken, then her soul must still be lost.
And this is a good thing?
Of course. If a soul is merely lost, it still can be saved. And maybe so can mine.
So, what's your plan?
We are approaching this from ignorance, and possibly from fear. Before I was trapped in the void, I was a spirit guide for a very long time. I can learn much from a spirit by looking at it, and talking to it. If Fielding's soul still exists, then it must be brought here.
And Heather. Heather's soul must still be out there.
And her as well, of course.
Peter Fielding's spook is at the gym. It's not too far away. You can talk to him there.
Are you kidding? I step out of this circle, who knows what could happen? If I die, there's a good chance I'll be an aware spirit, just like Leah and George, and then...
Be at peace, my host. I would not ask you to do such a thing.
Well, thank heaven for that.
Besides, it is unnecessary. As you say, only spiritually aware souls are attacked. Since this Fielding is not spiritually aware, meeting him in his current state would be fruitless. We need to awaken him before I can determine anything about him.
Won't awakening these ghosts destroy him? Aren't we trying to avoid that?
Don't be absurd. We'll put them behind this circle. They will be safe there.
And how are we supposed to do that? Spooks like me can't enter the thing.
This might surprise you, Malone, but I did think of that. Come here. Take this.
What's this thing?
Call it a totem. It was made with some of my essence. The circle was created in much the same manner, so it will make a perfect focus. When you awaken a spirit, use the totem to send them directly here. They will remain safely behind the circle until we can determine the next course of action.
So I'll be trapped in this circle with Peter and Heather's ghosts?
I am afraid so, my host.
Well, I suppose it can't be helped. And I guess it will be nice to see them again.
Yes.
Is there anything else you can tell me about Peter? Anything that can help us?
No. Of all the people in our group, Peter was the one I spoke to the least. I think George once belonged to his gym, even took personal training sessions for a while. But George wasn't really the personal fitness type.